We are. I think it's a few seconds left.
Oh, there we go.
All right,
awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
guys, how we doing?
There it is.
We're back. Oh, dear.
Got my coffee this morning. Yeah.
Yes, it's funny. We always have spend 2 minutes deciding who's going to actually click live. So here we are. Guys, welcome to the Coffee with Closers. We have an awesome special guest, one of Batch's finest. We've got Jesse Burrell. Jesse, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm not really a coffee guy, but brought the Red Bull.
Hey,
got the Red Bull.
It.
Yeah.
There you go.
We'll do it. So, yeah, we appreciate you both joining us. I know the format is pretty much we get on, we just give free content out, answer people's questions. And we always like to bring on a guest that's in the industry, kind of, either doing deals or supporting people doing deals. And I think that's kind of definitely where you fit in. We're all big subscribers to obviously the Batch products, of the brilliant, the fantastic. So I know I've got some selfish personal questions for you today that I want answered. I'm sure the audience will. I'm actually rocking just for you. Data is king.
Oh yeah, man, I love that shirt. I need to get me one of those.
Yeah.
Those are dope.
Yeah. So anyway, Jesse, just tell us a little bit about you for people that don't know you. I'm sure most people do. But tell us a little bit about you, what you've got going on, and we'll kind of go from there.
So yeah, I've been in real estate investing since 2015. Wholesaled, flipped, now doing some development, own some rental properties. And then about a little over 3 years ago, we created Batch Skip Tracing, which led to Batch Leads, which led to Batch Driven, which led to Batch Dialer. And now we have a whole suite of products to help, wholesalers, realtors, fix and flippers, people buying rentals to find off-market deals.
Awesome. That's great. And what's good about that as well, guys, with the Batch products is with having everything all in one under one umbrella, it's so much easier to run your business. You've not got 20 different companies that you are operating. You can actually push leads, you can pull lists, you can skip trace within the service and actually push it to whether it's text messaging or the dialer within inside, which sounds probably nothing, but it makes a massive difference when you've not got to be pulling it out and reformatting and getting it back in and using third-party companies to buy phone numbers. All this saves you a ton of time, because remember, if you're not on one of these, if you're not on the phone, you're not making money. And that is what Batch for me provides for me and my clients, is to allow people to make money, get them on the phone and actually start doing deals. So that's awesome. So I guess if you're watching real quick, guys, can you give us a like and subscribe, share if you are watching, share to the audience. We want to get as many people as we can watching us. And if you've got any questions regarding real estate or any of the Batch products, this is the guy that is going to have the answers. So use this time. And because he's on and he already gave us this, him and his team, if you actually want to, let me get this up. If you want to test Batch out, which I highly recommend, you want to go to batchleads.io/closers, batchleads.io/closers. There's actually 5,000 records that you can download and actually test the service for 7 days. And I'm telling you now, it's a game changer. We're all using it. So it's not something that we're just pitching here. We are using it, and go and test it out. Highly recommend. So go to batchleads.io/closers and get 5,000 free downloads right now. And Dave's found a cat.
I don't know whose cat this is.
Where are you, Dave?
I'm in my basement.
Well, this must be your cat.
No, it is. I'm just kidding.
It's pretty weird, wouldn't it? Yeah, anyway.
I wouldn't put it past him. He stole someone's cat. He just can't remember doing it last night.
That's right. No, Jesse, I'm really happy that you're on the show, man. Everything, all the products that you guys are using or that you guys have built, I should say, that I'm using, that you guys have built, are top-notch products. And man, when it comes to real estate investing, finding motivated sellers, getting them on the phone, contacting them, that's really where this business all starts. It doesn't matter, guys, if you are going to be a landlord, or if you are going to be, want to be a wholesaler, or let's say that you're wanting to do, fix and flip, or maybe you want to do virtual. It does not matter what your exit strategy is or what your, type of investing strategy is. At the end of the day, if you don't have leads in your business, you don't have a business, right? And the batch products are literally the best products on the marketplace when it comes to getting in contact with property owners. And the more property owners you get in contact, the more motivated sellers you come across. So Jesse, super happy to have you on the show, man. I've been using your guys' products since the very beginning. Started out with batch skip tracing. Batch Leads is probably my favorite software on the planet. You guys have the skip tracing built into that. You got leads over there. You got SMS. You've recently added direct mail and the comping tool. Holy cow, man, the comping tool is killer. Loving the comping tool. So nice. So, and again, you had mentioned some other ones earlier here, like Batch Driven. Batch Driven is amazing product, guys. If you are looking to do some driving for dollars, you can even do it virtually. And I even have one of my virtual assistants that goes in a couple hours a week and just does it for us, just virtual driving for dollars. He's trained to just locate properties that, look distressed. And then I believe the dialer is probably your most recent product. Am I right on that?
Yeah, that's about, I think we started betaing it last August, but we've spent the majority of time making sure that it's getting to a level to where people are super happy. So we're there, which has been good. And the user base is growing like crazy. So it's showing.
Yeah. So the dialer is awesome as well. So Driven and the dialer are two amazing products. Again, my favorite is Batch Leads. Text messaging has only been around in terms of bulk for, what would you guys say? Maybe two or 3 years, give or take, in terms of investors really, really utilizing it to its full potential. And I know that Batch Leads has probably helped me buy 20 rental properties, maybe even more, maybe 30 rental properties over the last 2 years or so. So loving all the products and just super grateful to have you on the show. Guys, if you're listening and watching live and you have questions for Jesse, drop a comment. Let us know. We're here to interact with you guys as the audience. And obviously learn a couple new things, as well on our own ends over here. So Jesse, what are you guys focusing on right now? What are you guys working on? I know Batch Leads has got a really kick-ass comping tool, and I'm sure you got some stuff up your sleeve for us. So spill the beans, brother. What you got?
Honestly, it's just improving what we have. It's on the dialer. It's making sure that the connect rate's better and you're getting in contact with more people. On the Batch Leads, it's how do we get more pictures for when you're comping to where you could comp properties and see the MLS pictures. It's a lot of little things that people don't think about that make the biggest of deals, because I think the comping tool is the most important thing. If you don't know how to properly comp a home, once you get those leads, you don't know if they're good or not. And then there's so much that goes into this business. You need to generate leads. You need to know how to qualify and disqualify them, and you need to know how to close. I think those are the three biggest things that you need to do. So we're really trying to make sure. I obviously can't help someone close deals. I'm not a coach like some of you guys. That's not my job. That's not my place in the industry, but my place is to make sure that we can help generate leads. And then now on Batch Leads to help qualify and disqualify leads is something that's super important to me.
Yeah. Oh, man, you're absolutely right.
I think as well, data is everything, isn't it? Because we talk about them things of qualifying leads, right? Closing deals. But if we don't have good data, we can't do it. You might as well smack your head against the wall. When I started skip tracing, right, and you're paying 2 cents and you got all these numbers and you think you're onto something, then you spend 10 hours and speak to 2 people because it's all
yeah,
rubbish.
That's the worst.
Right? It's the worst. So I've always, again, used the products, but not only because the data is good, but it actually saves a ton of money as well, right? With that stacking feature. if you're pulling not only from batch, but if you're using, you know, county records and tax delinquent lists and things, and you're bringing them in, you can actually stack the list. So if it's already come up on another list, you're saving tons of money, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, which we wasn't doing before. Before that, we just go and skip the list again, right? If you didn't want to spend 10 hours going through a spreadsheet like us, I'm lazy. I'm just going to pay for it all again, right?
Guilty.
Exactly.
Are you referring to the match savings, Gavin?
Yeah. The back
Dude,
when
I
you
was telling
stack.
Jesse was so gracious to have me out to visit with him about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago at this point. And I was telling him, man, we were in the back pool shooting some hoops, drinking some beers, and I was like, man, you know what my favorite product is that you have? And he was like, what is it, man? And I was like, it's actually more of a feature than a product. And it's the feature in batch leads that is the match savings, man. That's literally my favorite feature in the whole gamut of all the cool stuff that you guys got. Because, you know, like for instance, with me, my bread and butter, guys, is vacant properties. And Gavin and Don, I'd imagine that you know, you guys are probably pretty similar, but you know, we buy about 100 houses a year at our business, and give or take 70 to 75% of those properties are vacant, right? That's a lot of vacant houses, right? So what we do is we pull a list of vacant properties as well as tons of other lists, absentee owned, high equity, off market, you name it. But we love the vacant list, and we keep circling back to the vacant list, you know, typically every 4 to 6 weeks. And if I go on my market and I pull a list of, you know, 9, 10, 11,000 vacant properties, but I already have, let's say 6 or 7,000 of those properties in the database, and I've already paid to skip trace those, it doesn't make sense to like go spend another, you know, $3,000 or $4,000 on leads, like getting the data for leads that I already have. And I absolutely love that feature, guys. So if you're not aware, check it out. Batch leads, skip tracing. It has a match saving feature where it will essentially bring in the new leads that you want, and it'll cross-reference those leads against your existing database, right? So here's the best part, guys. The more you use it, the more money you save. So I was on a call with a student yesterday. He's brand new, and he was like, Dave, you know, what product should I get? And I'm like, all of the batch products. Definitely get all the batch ones. They're the best. I go, but let me show you an example because I needed to get some new leads anyway. And I pulled a list of, you know, it was a new list or a list that I don't typically pull, but sometimes I like the niche list. And it was a pre-probate list. And there was about 5,800 leads on the list. And I think probably 70% of the leads were in my system already. And I literally saved like $350 on that one skip trace. And I was telling my student, I was like, that's about what I spend, probably even a little more, right, than what I spend on the membership and the monthly cost to use the product. I'm like, so the product is basically free now with one skip trace. And I'm skip tracing big lists, you know, 2-3 times a week typically. So
Yeah.
Jesse, thank you for building such awesome products, man.
So it's funny that you just went on a tangent about that. That's how all of this started, is when me and Evo partnered, and Annie at first, we had separate wholesale companies, and I wanted a list stacking / data management tool because we were primarily cold calling at that time. And I was sick of keeping track of my list and skip tracing the same stuff over and over again. That was my biggest concern because I was, you know, skip tracing tens of thousands of dollars. And that's how this whole thing started. Obviously, it snowballed to something much bigger, though.
Man, I love it. I'm telling you, that's my favorite feature by far. Yeah. But that's just a small piece of the value that you guys are creating out here in this real estate investor community. I'm telling you guys, like finding motivated sellers, like that's where it all starts. You guys have heard me say it already. You're going to hear me probably say it again. But, you know, getting on the phone with motivated sellers is the name of the game. Like all we do as real estate investors and specifically wholesalers, you know, is provide solutions to people's problems. That's it. That's it, right? It's so incredibly simple. How do we do that, right? Well, what we do is we give people convenience. I mean, it's that simple. And in exchange for the convenience, we demand a discount. At least I do. And I tell all my students, guys, your convenience has a ton of value. So don't give it all away to people if they're not willing to match the level of convenience that you're giving them with, a level of a discount for the most part. And it's where it all starts. It's where it all begins. So if you are not, let's just take a step back here. If you're struggling and you're not finding deals and you don't know where to begin, right? It's because you're not doing marketing. That's the name of the game. It's all about marketing. It's all about getting on the phone with property owners. Okay. Once you get on the phone with 200 or 300 property owners, you're typically going to come across somebody that has a level of motivation that is going to allow you to get a deal on a property. And if you haven't got on the phone with the motivated seller yet, then you haven't got on the phone with enough sellers. It's literally that simple. And you guys have a ton of different products that will help you get on the phone with the sellers. So the texting is probably my favorite. The dialer, I don't know, that's a close second. The dialer has really been crushing it for me lately. If you guys know, I'm kind of lazy. Literally just woke up like 20 minutes ago. But I've had dialers on the clock for 2.5 hours already, right? Yeah. And these cold callers, they're virtual assistants. They're part of my team. I pay them hourly. If they bring a deal in, they get a bonus. And, they're bringing in typically anywhere from 3 to 7 leads every single day, right? So we don't have a lead problem in our business, but I know a lot of people out there do. And you got to just get one of these marketing tools and just hit the ground running. It's literally that simple.
We have a question. I don't know if I'll put it up anyway.
Dennis
Ryan,
Dennis is one of my students.
Kind of answer this. I don't know how he wants to play it, but
yeah.
I don't use Deal Machine, so I don't have any I honestly don't know the answer to this. I don't know if they are.
Yeah. So here, Dennis is one of my students. Love Dennis, great guy. He's just joined about a week and a half ago, and he's done a couple flips already out the gate, but he's wanting to start doing some more wholesaling, and he's really wanting to do what I do, which is cherry pick deals, right? We wholesale about 100 houses a year, guys, and it's like my goal when I wake up every day isn't to wholesale any houses. It's to find rentals and it's to find flips, right? It's to find properties for me, and we wholesale everything else. So Dennis says, I'm currently using batch leads and the dialer, and I love them. How does batch driven compare to Deal Machine? And my personal
I was going to say, you should answer this, David, because you've used both, and I don't want to give a biased opinion.
That's why I was saying. That's why I positioned it.
They're both great products, by all means. Batch driven is simpler. It's easier to use, right? Deal Machine is a great product. I am not here to bash any other products or any other companies. In fact, I also use Deal Machine. We use both. And there's no better, neither one of them, in my opinion, is really better. However, I feel that batch driven is a simpler product to use, right? It's much easier to get it set up and to get the ball rolling with it. But Dennis, that's actually a really good question. There's really, they're both really, really good products. I like driven because I'm already using a lot of the other batch products and services. And Jesse has a massive team of developers that literally work round the clock to make these products better. So, for example, batch leads didn't used to talk to batch dialer, right? Well, now you can push leads from one of the systems to the other. So one of the cool things that I know that Jesse has on his development board is having these products all talk to each other at some point, in the future. So, there are going to be some advantages of working with a company that has other products versus one that is just specific to Deal Machine. So again, Deal Machine is a good product, not here to bash anybody by any means. But I would highly recommend that you check out Driven as well, just because the user interface is just very easy to use. And it's a great product. So great question. Love it.
Yeah. I just did a video a couple of weeks. I need to send it to you, Jesse, actually, using batch driven out and about. And it was good because I actually went to one of my houses that I own and skip traced it on the spot. And guess who came up? Me as the owner, right? Just to prove that it works. So I skip traced it on the spot. I got all my information literally on me, just to prove like that it's actually, again, good information. So that's awesome.
Love it.
The probably biggest difference between us and Deal Machine is we have more accurate phone numbers because we have our skip tracing in there. And then, you know, we own the whole database in the country for property data and that too. But when it comes to, you know, the driving for dollars, and they're great with all that type of stuff. It's just, that's where I think we, you know, we have something that we use on a multitude of products that they don't have and that we've built out for a lot longer than they have.
Yeah. And
Data's king.
So Dennis says the ability to have everything work together is a benefit, and I'm looking for. So there you go, man. Love it, by all means. So we got another question. I'm absolutely terrified of cold calling, and have so many vacant houses that I have driving for dollars. Right? I just don't know what to do or how to start the conversation off without sounding like I'm stumbling, guys. This is a very, very, very common problem that newbies have. So terrified of cold calling.
Dave,
lots of vacant houses that
you
they
struggle with this one, don't you?
What do they do to start that conversation?
I think Don should start this conversation because he's closed more houses than probably all three of us put together.
I know.
Okay, this is my 16-year-old son. Come get closer. Come here. My 16-year-old son is training for acquisitions right now. Now he's not cold calling; he's calling our dead leads list. Get over here.
Welcome.
This person asked the question about being terrified of cold calling and starting a conversation. What advice would you give him? Because you're literally training to do that right now. So talking to the mic.
Well, you just got to think of it like it's a human conversation. You can't think of it like any other way. It's just another human. You're talking to them. It's just a regular conversation. There's just that little catch that you're trying to get them to agree with you on something, but at the end of the day, it's just another person that you're trying to get through to. So
would your advice be to listen more and talk less, or to talk more and listen less?
I would say listen more and talk less.
There you go. It's so
love
simple.
it.
Yeah. So he's 16. He's training right now in my office to do acquisitions. One of these calls, I'll have to play some of these calls. He's doing phenomenal. And
he's going to come and work for me. Right?
Yeah. But he's going to be a senior.
He's going
to be a senior in high school this year. If my 16-year-old senior can do, my 17 will be 17 next week, can get on the phone and have these conversations. Literally anybody can do it. There's nothing to be scared of. It's just a human being on the other end of the phone.
Love it. So the question specifically though is
Jesse
how to start the conversation off without sounding like you're stumbling, right? So my advice is just be yourself. Right. I'm kind of the anti-script guy. I think scripts are good for people that don't know what to say. I've been doing this for years and years. But one of the things that you can definitely do to help you not stumble is to get a script, right? Or just create a couple simple lists of bullet points, right? So whenever I'm making calls, or if I'm training somebody on my team to make calls, the number one initiative is to find out if they do in fact own a property. Right? Hey, is this John? Hi, I'm Dave. I'm with House Sold Easy. I'm calling today because I think you might be the owner of, 123 Main Street. Is that the case? So number one, just determine if they are a property owner. And if they are, do you have the right address? If not, they may have another house. That's great. Run with that lead, right? But figure out if they are a property owner. Number two, determine if they have any interest in selling. Literally. Okay, great. I'm so happy that I was able to reach you today. Do you have any interest in selling? My company loves to buy properties, and we own a few in the area already. Do you have interest in selling? So bullet point number 2 would be see if they have interest in selling the property, right? And then number 3, the bullet point number 3 that we literally work off of every single day is make a friend with that person. They may not be super interested in selling today. So if they say, no, I'm not interested in selling today, don't just say, okay, thanks for your time and hang up and go to the next person. Make a friend with that person. It seems, it's so easy to do. Just say, okay, great. Well, if you ever have any desire in the future to sell the property, we can come in and pay cash. We can close fast. We won't require you to do any repairs. You know, in the event that you are curious what our offer would be, we'll even offer you a free home consultation, meaning we'll send somebody from our team out. It might even be me to come out and meet with you, walk the property, show you what we think the property is going to be worth, you know, talk with you about what we think the property may need in terms of repairs, and then make the offer to you right then and there. So we're constantly pushing what we like to refer to as a free home consultation, just because it helps us build the relationship. It builds the rapport. It builds the friendship with your prospect, with your property lead. Now, here's a secret. This is kind of the secret sauce, in my opinion, of this business, guys. This business is all about marketing, making offers, and following up. It's three simple things. All right. So the marketing is the cold calling. We just kind of walked through that. That's the marketing. Making offers can be done over the phone, can be done via email, can be done via text message. It can be done in person, but start doing those things, right? If you are a business owner and you're trying to get into real estate, or you're trying to get better at real estate investing, and you're not making 2 or 3 offers a day, you're not going to be able to build good traction in your business. You got to get really comfortable with making offers to every single property owner that you talk to. And if you don't want to make the offer on the phone kind of blindly, then set an appointment and go make the offer. And then the third thing is you have to follow up. All right. When I say that, you know, we do about 100 deals a year, that doesn't mean that every month we get 10 or 15 new leads in that we get under contract. It doesn't work that way. All right. How it typically works is it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months on average for a new lead to come in for us to then get it under contract. Are we able to get leads in that we're able to get under contract right away? Absolutely. Right. But not every lead is going to be like that. Right. Most of the time, you're going to have to nurture those leads and follow up with them and let them know that you're going to be there to help them when they're ready. I think a big mistake that a lot of new people make is they try to force a seller to be motivated. And that's not how this business works. Instead, let them know that you're there to help them today or 17 months from now. Doesn't matter, right? And follow up with them. And the goal is to get them on the phone when they're motivated, or make such a good presence and relationship and build enough rapport with them that when they get motivated on their own, that they call you, and they don't call Don or Gavin. They call me.
So what you're saying is what you want to do is not dominate the call like you're doing with this interview right now.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
That's always. We have
Always.
to just.
It's good. No,
We just mute him sometimes.
Yeah, we love it. Let me add a counterweight to that, because there's a couple of things I want to add. One is, look, when you're brand new, you're gonna have some shitty conversations right out of the gate. That's just the way it is. You're never gonna get good at this unless you get in there and you stumble a lot at first. And so get a few of the just jump in there and get the crappy calls out of the way and start to get your rhythm, and you're gonna gain confidence. The other thing I'll say is, there's actually nothing wrong with stumbling in your call. You'd be amazed. Like, I'm listening to Nate's calls right now, my son's calls. I'm listening to him back. And there's a few times where he stumbles and the seller actually jumps in and tries to save him. You know what I'm saying? So people like to talk to human beings. We're talking to a human being that likes to talk to a human being, and they're inclined to try to help us. And sometimes the more confident we sound actually works against us, believe it or not, in this industry. And so yeah. And were you gonna say something, Jesse, on that?
Yeah, real quick. I want you to keep going, but when I was serving tables and would start a new restaurant back when I was young, I would say I was new for like a year and a half, because if I messed up, people would want to help you, or people would be more understanding. So I get the point that you're getting at right now.
Right. So, you know, if you follow like John Martinez or some of the other sales trainers, Steve Trang out there who does sales training, they'll talk about that, where, you know, you're the reluctant buyer, and, you know, you'll use things like, you know, maybe you're not interested in selling, or, you know, I don't want to offend you with the price, because people will naturally be inclined to want to save you. And that is a true human instinct. So when you'll be amazed when you get on the call and you kind of stumble over your words a little bit, how much these people will actually be more inclined to let their guard down and have a real conversation with you. So I just hope that helps a little bit. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're going to stumble. And just one more thing I want to add. I remember when I started my podcast, I was so anal about everything being perfect that I recorded 20 something episodes that will never see the light of day because I wanted perfection. And I have found that I get a better response when I'll stumble my words and say, hey, I can't speak today, or, something, and I have a natural conversation. It's actually a better interview or a better show. So being a human being is okay, people. I think we're so afraid to be human that we don't allow ourselves to get out there and be successful and do the things that we need to do to be successful and have the life we want. So fear is a funny thing. Let it drive you, let it motivate you. Be afraid of the life that you're not going to have if you don't do the things you need to do. Don't be afraid of taking that step and having a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Love
That's
it.
really good. I think as well, and we can move on from this, but I think you just got to keep it simple as well, right? You're there on your first call to gather information. You're not there to close the deal. You haven't got to worry about, I think we look at it and you think you've got to lock this contract up on this phone call. And I think that's where the fear comes in, because you don't know what you're doing yet.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is just think about it as a VA would, right? It's just there gathering information. Go and ask questions to gather information, and then just say, hey, Mr. Seller, that's a great question. Let me do some research and I'll get back to you on that if you don't understand it. So just have a couple of questions that you can get out of. I think you just have to listen to them recordings. And as you do 1 to 5 and 5 to 10 and 15 to 20, you will naturally get more comfortable as you do something. So just dive in and have a go. You got a big red button. You just put it down if it's not going to plan. So, yeah.
Jesse, what
do you think?
Jesse, I'm curious to hear what your 2 cents is, in particular to this question. So I don't know what to do or how to start the conversation off without sounding like I'm stumbling. What's your 2 cents?
Well, luckily, I've done hundreds of wholesale and real estate deals too. Didn't start off doing tech, and I'm not a techie person at all, as all you guys who know me here. But I always like to just to open with their first name, get their first name, because it's more of a casual conversation. You don't want to be super formal, Mr. Dodge. If I call you that just feels like a sales call. Mm-hmm. Mr. Costa. Hey, Don, what's up? Don's going to be like, who's this? Who are you? It's just letting guards down super quickly. Cause I think they seemed the very beginning, just say their first name. Now, if you can't figure out how to say their first name, then obviously say Mr. or Mrs. Blank, but that's not what you want to do. You want to open, you want to introduce yourself. As your son said, Don, you're just having another conversation with someone. I promise it's actually that simple. Now you need to know the questions to ask and how to answer the questions they're going to ask you. And that takes practice and time. Get on the phones, have conversations, genuinely want to help someone. And you can make a lot of money pretty quickly. I did it personally. I had no idea what I was doing, and I had to hop on phones, just like all of us started somewhere. And I think people forget that, because we're here, doing coffee with closers, which I would say I'm the best closer because all of you guys promote my products. Let's go.
No, you're just fun to have beers with, so we like you. We're promoting your product. Just kidding.
But no, but seriously, it's we all started at the same place. Like we really did. Just because you see where we are now, we all had to start there. We were all nervous to get on a phone call with someone. You just gotta go do it, because the longer you wait, the longer it is for your dreams to get fulfilled. That's how I look at it.
Love it, man. That's great advice. That's great advice.
It is perfect advice. And, where you said we all started somewhere, I started door knocking, pissing my pants in the first conversation. The only reason that we can all close is because we had the conversations, we screwed them up. We went and sat in our car and we beat ourselves up over, we Monday morning quarterbacked it. And we should have said this, we should have asked that. Went back to the next conversation, said that and asked that, and then screwed something else up and sat in our car and said, okay, well, now I got to fix this and I got to fix that. And the next conversation, we fixed this and that and screwed something else up. And pretty soon it's this natural, thing that we do, and we don't even know we do it. And because it was years of making ourselves better by having those initial conversations and just doing it. So get out there and do it.
Love it, man.
Yeah,
and here's the thing too. I think a lot of people, they're like afraid of getting hung up on, or they're afraid of like failure. And failure is really part of the process. You can't let it bring you down. You got to move on. So whenever something happens in my business where, somebody an outsider may consider that as a failure, we look at that as a lesson. We look at that as a seminar. We may have spent money to learn that lesson. We may not have, but it's literally just part of the game. It's part of the business. So if that is your hang up, is that you're just afraid of being told no, or you're afraid of getting hung up on, you can bring in virtual assistants or team members or, family members in Don's case to help you along that process. Like at this point, I only literally want to talk to leads that are qualified. Right now, if you're brand new, I highly encourage you make the calls and you put in the work, because you're going to learn a tremendous amount, right? But don't forget that, the cold calling and the cold texting, even the driving for dollars, those efforts can be outsourced by members of your team and or employees, right? So if that's your biggest hang up, is that you don't necessarily have the confidence to go make those calls, well, you can bring somebody else in to help you with that. Love it.
Well, you better have some money then, because you ain't doing that any other way. I also think even if you don't like doing it, I think you should at least know how, because let's say you hire someone.
Absolutely.
If you can't train or tell them what they're doing right and wrong, you're not going to be a very good business owner or leader, in my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. And that's why I say I always encourage and recommend people out the gate do it themselves, right? But you don't necessarily need to do it for 6 months or 8 months or a year. Do it for 2 or 3 months. Get really good at it, and then you can then bring on some help. Absolutely. Jesse, great point. Great point.
Even if you're not good at it, at least you can say, I did it. I struggled. I understand you, because you may not, some people just aren't good, David. Like they're not all you, me, Gavin, or Don.
I get it.
Facts.
We have a comment. We have a comment here we're going to pop up where it says David Dodge has enough self-confidence for 10 normal people. Go ahead.
That's what I mean.
It's because his wife's so hot. He gets to come home and walk around every day being like, damn, look what I got.
Much appreciated. But let's put that comment up there, because it's going to be a big one. It's going to cover up Don and Jesse just for a minute, but we'll bring you guys back here. So Dominic D. Self. I know David Dodge spoke against scripts, but he has enough self-confidence for 10 normal people. I'd recommend finding a good script you can find anywhere, such as Don's website, fliptalk.com/resources-2, and internalize that script. Know it without needing to read it. That's my favorite sentence right there. Know it without needing to read it. So when I say I'm against scripts, I'm really against reading them in real time, guys. We still use them. We just memorize them. And ours at this point are bullet points, right? So we can kind of bounce around. But that's a really, really good piece of advice. Recite it in front of the mirror or with a friend or an accountability partner. I mean, what do you guys think that that these guys on this call are for me? They're accountability partners. Absolutely. So do it over and over again and do it every single day. Then accept that Don said you're going to make mistakes, and those mistakes will kill deals. Welcome back, Jesse and Don. I absolutely love that though, guys. And I didn't get my confidence from just waking up and just having it. I got it from
Don't believe you.
I
got it when he met Julia.
Times, literally hundreds of times. But that's a really, really great comment. Scripts are great. Get to know them, memorize them. I think whenever I say that I'm anti-script, I'm anti-reading, because when you read something you're on the phone, like think about when somebody calls you, you can tell when they're reading something.
Yeah.
You're going to pick that up. So I'm not saying don't use a script. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm really saying is don't use a script that you have to read. Well, memorize.
Let me just say this real quick. I think it's the person. It comes down to the personality, right? Like I did some ads with Jesse, and I'm like, Jesse, I just need the concept. I need to go wing it. Do not let me read, because it's like a 3-year-old's doing it. It will be brutal.
Exactly right.
Right? It's not going to work. That's my personality. I can't do it. So that's why I don't like them. But if you can read a script, and I don't know, I think the key is can you read a script without letting on that you're reading a script? That's what I would say. And if you can, go on, Jesse.
So obviously I have a lot of employees, and there's scripts for everything, but it's actually bullet points. And I want to get to this is, if you're teaching someone a script, they're never going to actually understand the whole concept and critical think. So I think have some bullet points. Once you get trained and you understand, but when people are asking questions, It's critical thinking skills that get you there. It's not a script. A script is a training process and mechanism, in my opinion. After that, you need to learn. Like I ask all my team, why do I have you asking these questions to this person? What is the reasoning behind this? So when someone comes in to batch leads, they'll be like, are you full-time or part-time? I'm like, why do I ask that question? I'm asking my team, why? They have to understand, why are we doing this? So they can critically think, okay, are they full-time or are they part-time? Well, that kind of gauges their experience. That gauges where we could help them. That gauges this, that, and the other. That's the same thing that you're going to be doing when it comes to sellers. You know, how many houses? Like you might want to know if they have more than one house. You want to know these questions. But if you don't teach your people that are on these phones critical thinking skills, then they're always just going to use a script and never really think outside the box.
Man,
Yeah.
you nailed that.
100%.
That was
100%.
awesome.
So let me just tie that, put a cherry on it. The script is a tool. I'm just as anti-script as Dave in the sense like I don't think you should have it.
I'm anti-reading a script.
Well, no, I want to. You got to know the script. You got to memorize the script. I agree, 100%. But you should conversation once you are comfortable should never be the script. It should be wherever the conversation goes that best suits the seller and the transaction.
And that's the problem with scripts is if you're reading it and the seller says, well, I actually have these 2 other houses on the street and your script doesn't have a place to go from there.
Exactly.
You may stumble. So that's why Jesse said it as well.
Yeah.
You know, bullet points are great because
Are you finished?
Well, the point that the script is a tool, right? It's a tool if you get stuck in the conversation or the conversation gets out of control that you can pull somebody back to, and that is absolutely it. So many people are so worried about the next thing they have to say, which ties into what Jesse said, that they don't think about or hear what the seller is telling them. I think I talked about this last week. You have to hear what people are saying and respond in time to what people are saying and use critical thinking in that sense to make the conversation successful. And if you can do that, you're going to close more. If you're so worried about that script and you're so worried about what you're going to say next, you're going to fail to close as many as you could close. Period.
That is some fire. Jesse, Shimshow's in my market, crushing deals.
So the other thing too is what you can do and what a script should be is you're trying to lead them down a path to get questions answered that you need to know. So that is actually the importance of a script per se, but you just need to memorize that. But you want to ask calibrated questions to go down, to take them down a path. Now, if that path gets deviated, that's where you need the critical thinking skills and the experience. And that can only come with time and practice and mentorship, in my opinion.
Love it. Yep.
Awesome.
Exactly right, man. That's exactly right. So let's talk about the path that we're leading them down, just real quick. And what I mean by real quick, like a couple minutes, of course.
Well, I think Maria asked a question. If you're nervous speaking with sellers on a cold call, use slide dialing, right? What are your thoughts? So what do you guys think about this?
So in terms of what do you mean by slide dialing? Like hiding your caller ID?
Slide broadcast, I'm assuming.
So you
RBM. But someone's going to call you back and you still have to answer. Like,
my advice would be don't use slide dialing because all you're doing is preventing what needs to happen, which is to get on the phone with the seller. Guys, all your marketing efforts, no matter what it is, I don't care if you're cold calling, cold texting, doing bandit signs, radio advertisements, billboards, AdWords, there's 3,000 things you can do. No matter what, all of that leads to one place, a phone call. So if you are not comfortable on the phone and you want to try to do something else, it still leads to that same place. Mm-hmm. So good question. But really, I think that's just, nervous was the key there. And the best way to build your confidence is just to do it. And you may fail a few times. Guys, I fail every day. Every day. Like I literally.
We all do.
Go play pickleball against me, David. Let's fail. I whooped his ass.
What is this thing? What is this thing they call pickleball? Everybody's talking about it, and I've never even seen it.
Oh, pickleball is the shit, man.
It's like tennis and ping pong combined, made a baby.
It sounds. It doesn't sound fun. It sounds scary.
Is it? Are you saying pickle or pickle?
Pickle.
Pickleball. It's fun. It's good cardio, but David, he got slapped around by me in front of his wife. He's embarrassed. He walked to the pool with the tail between his legs. His wife was kind of mean to me because she was embarrassed for him.
Yeah, right.
That's it. Then when I'm saying this game on, then when I get there.
That's right. That's right. So let's talk about.
Well, he's going to be. I want to say one thing though. He'll be good. Like you've got eye coordination because of golf's like me. So I bet you're pretty good with racket sports. Like I'm all right as well. So I'm ready to step up, Jesse, when I hit Phoenix. Yeah.
I think I got my money on Jesse.
Yeah, post it when you school him, Jesse.
That's right.
Let's go.
That's right. So let's talk back about this whole path. Jesse had mentioned this. Like the point of a script is to lead somebody down a path. So, everybody on this call here is more than just a marketer. We're actually investors. So if you are new to this business and you're not necessarily an investor, you haven't wholesaled a bunch of houses already, or you haven't done flips, or you don't own rentals, you want to essentially put yourself in the shoes of the investor or of your buyer. So what is your buyer going to want to know? Well, I'm lucky to have the ability to wear both hats because I own rental properties and I wholesale and I fix and flip. But if I didn't do that and I'm on the phone with somebody, I'm going to want to ask the questions that my buyers or my investors are going to want to know. And that's what Jesse was mentioning whenever we're talking about a script and following a path or leading somebody down a path, right? If a property is rented, well, knowing how much rent it brings in a month is probably pretty important. Right now, that's like second nature for everybody here to be like, oh, it's rented. Great. How much is the rent? How long have the tenants been there? What's the security deposit? These are questions that just come to mind. But if you don't know to ask these questions, that's where that script will come in and help you. So I just want to reemphasize that.
Dave, what is a wholesaler, right? Like a wholesaler is someone that is finding something for someone to flip a home or buy a rental, right? So shouldn't their job be to get as much information possible if they're going to sell this property to one of these type of people?
That's exactly right. As much information as they possibly can, guys. Sometimes I'll go on an appointment with the seller and I'll find myself being there for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, right? And the reason isn't because I'm just trying to gain as much information as possible. That's part of it, by all means. But really, it's also like making a friend, building rapport, gaining trust. People want to work with people that they like, and they want to work with people that they can trust, right? So another thing that I think is a really, really good point when it comes to, for instance, cold calling is don't rush off the phone unless the guy on the other end wants to, right? But and Don, you had mentioned this earlier. If they start taking the conversation, onto a thing that's not on your script, that's okay. Go with that. Listen to them, and then obviously try to bring them back to that path that Jesse and I were talking about a minute ago. But don't lose your shit and try to end the call if they want to all of a sudden start talking about the economy or whatever else it could possibly be. Making a friend is literally the number one thing you can do to gain a sale.
Yeah. What I'm saying, and they'll sell to you sometimes for less money than they'll sell to somebody else because they like you. I've had it happen dozens of times.
All the time, actually. Yeah, all the time.
There's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it was written years and years and years ago. So it's a dated book, but it's a fantastic book, and it talks about that. People don't want to hear about you and hear what you have to say. I mean, they'll ask questions, but really they want to talk about themselves. And the more you get them talking about themselves, and the more you listen, the more they're going to like you. And they're going to like you because they enjoy talking about themselves to you.
That's why I love it.
It's funny how magical it is. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So that's why we're great listeners, Dave. So I'm an introvert.
You have to listen on this show.
Exactly.
It's called Coffee with Dave, featuring Gavin and
yeah. So
Brandon, that's really Brandon.
But I'm a natural introvert. Dave is obviously an extrovert. For me, it comes natural just to ask questions and shut up and listen. So, and that's always worked in my favor. And the more I got sellers to talk about themselves, and they would tell me how to close them. They'd tell me what the problem was, how to solve it, and what they needed for me to close them. And the less I talked, the better I did. And that's something that, again, don't be afraid sometimes to get on the phone with somebody and just ask a question, let them talk. They'll close themselves 9 times out of 10. So,
Don, that is such a great point. And I want to expand on this just a minute, but isn't it funny how whenever you're on the phone with people, they will tell you how to close them?
oh,
You
yeah.
just gotta listen.
You have to hear what they're
what
saying.
they're
Mhm.
saying. I love it, man, because that's what we're doing. We're solving problems.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are going to have a little tiny problem. Sometimes it's going to be a big problem. Sometimes the problem is the people. Sometimes the problem is the property. And sometimes, this is why I like driving for dollars, sometimes it's both. And those deals are typically the easiest.
I just want to say as well, right? While you're talking, you're not gathering information. Okay, so while you're talking, you're not gathering information. So that's why you want to ask the questions, listen, shut up, write down everything they're saying, and you can recycle that information back in as you get better on the phone. But just be thinking about that, because I think when you're nervous as well, you over talk. It's natural. Just talk, just keep going and talking, because you don't know, kind of, you're uncomfortable. So just try and learn just to ask a question, say nothing, write things down, and you'll just get better. So just wanted to add that.
Yep.
1,000%. So
That's
we have a question here that I got to answer. It's burning a hole in my pocket.
I know. Go on. Dion, come in. There we go.
So it's very important that this one gets answered. But anyway, best mid-level mastermind to join. Not sure what your name is, Mr. Facebook user, Mrs. Facebook user there, but beinthisroom.com, the Inner Circle Elite. I would go to beinthisroom.com and just do a quick application, get on a call with myself or somebody, Rita, who generally will handle those calls, and have a conversation about what your business looks like. You may very well be a candidate for the Inner Circle Elite. We're looking for phenomenal people to be part of that community. We're looking for givers, people who are willing to be vulnerable and grow their business and help other people grow their business. And definitely something that I think you should have a conversation about. So I think the best mastermind out there, personally, because I'm biased, is the Inner Circle Elite community. So go to beinthisroom.com and check that out.
Beinthisroom.com.
And then
Go on, Jesse.
I've been a part of Investor Fuel for a long time. They've been great. I don't know if that would be mid-level or more expensive. I don't know what yours cost on, but I've seen a lot of people have success there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I want to say just real quick, the importance of a mastermind if you are trying to grow. I mean, that's where I met Jesse 5 years ago, I think, when we were in the Go Giver Mastermind. I think that's when you met Evo and Annie, now your business partners. We sat at that table. This is how crazy it is. I was in the discussion of, we're all cold calling. We're all sick of paying for the same data over and over again from different leads. So when Batch actually formed, I was in the early conversations before I moved to Savannah of not them forming, but what it led to was from being in a mastermind. So when it's so important when you get to the level of then being around like-minded people, and joint ventures will happen and you'll grow together. So I just want to throw that out there. That's how I got to know Jesse and some of these other guys, Don as well from Mastermind. So really important.
That was a free mastermind too. That was an invite only. So that's not, hey, I could pay to get here type of mastermind. That was invite only. You got to be doing a lot of deals, or you got to be a great person that adds value. But, I've heard great things about Don's as well. I tried to get in. He just wouldn't let me. He said wasn't doing big enough things.
Oh, excuse me, dude, you need to come check it out.
He said the same words.
What's that?
When's the next one?
It is in Austin, Texas, actually, on the 5th and 6th of August. So, that's our next one. And then
there is a theme. There is a theme. Let me just jump in. Vegas, Austin, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee. You probably start to see, Don Costa's running it.
Fun towns. That's the best way to do it. Yeah. Go to the fun places.
Go to the fun places. Look, we picked the cities I want to go to. I want to have a good time in. So.
Absolutely. I think it's genius.
Yeah. So we're gonna be doing Airbnbs big in the next couple of years, and we're looking at cities that I want to vacation in. Why not? Right. So I'm building. I'm building memories with my family and cash flowing at the same time. That's my goal. So.
Yeah,
I love it.
So
I love it. Guys, masterminds are a great place to meet people. And, you know, you can also probably find some local masterminds, right? Like there's obviously RIA clubs, but oftentimes the guys that are running the RIAs will have, you know, like a level above just the free one, right? Where you can go and maybe meet weekly or monthly with other members in your own community. And that's a great place to start as well. So check out beinthisroom.com if you want more information about Don's mastermind. Gavin and I are both members of it. We love that mastermind, great people. But also, you know, look in your own backyard, look in your own community and see if you can't find some as well. Because, you know, that's really, it sounds like that's where Jesse met his partners. That's where I met Don, was at a mastermind. I think I was connected with Gavin elsewhere. But I mean, my business partner that I own 60 plus rentals with right now, I met him at a mastermind. Right? So masterminds are so powerful.
I met Dave through a cold call. Cold called him.
That's right.
Did you really?
That's right.
Sure did.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny. All right. That's
Brent gave me his number, but Dave had no clue who I was. He's like, call Dave. He's great. I know him. And I'm like, does he know who I am? He's like, sure doesn't. And I was like, I'll give him a call.
Here we are. I'm glad that you made that call, man.
No warm intro, nothing. I literally just cold called him.
No, that was awesome. I remember that call, and I was like, that was awesome. I can't wait to meet this guy. So love it.
I never got a cold call from Jesse.
It's because
Smith,
I knew who you were.
Watching.
I met you, Don. Did I meet you at officially met you? Was it in wholesaling? Is that where we first?
Yeah, it was wholesaling. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ricardo is our guy. He's been on as well. We love Ricardo.
I met Don at Flip Hacking.
Yeah, I was a speaker. Yeah,
that's when you were big time though. You didn't have time for me then.
Oh, whatever. Oh, whatever. Okay.
You were palming everyone off at the back of the room. You needed your space.
Well, it's, you know,
joking.
It's hard. It's hard when you're a superstar, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. It is.
That's right.
Well, guys, we're nearly done here. So yeah, go on, Dave.
I was just gonna say, I want to remind everybody, go to coffeewithcloserslive.com. You can also text 314-310-5221. And basically, those are two places to get free resources. And in the free resources, we have contracts for you to use in your business. We have assignment agreements. We have joint venture agreements. We basically have all the simple tools that you are going to need as a real estate investor. We also over there have a free trial for you to go check out Batch Leads and Batch Driven. And I think maybe Batch Dialer. If not, that will be coming soon as well. But these are products that we use in our businesses literally every day. Right now, I have 2 callers on the clock that are just calling all day, right? If you don't have leads, you don't have a business. So we highly encourage you guys to go check out these free trials and these products, because these are the products that are going to get you on the phone with these sellers and ultimately get you deals, which ultimately gets you paid. And that's the name of the game, guys. It's getting paid. So don't forget, check out coffeewithcloserslive.com. Jesse, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'm so incredibly grateful for your time. I know we had to bag extra hard to get you out of bed early this morning.
I just got back from Vegas, but I was excited. You guys are all great. This is fun. I had a blast.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it, Jesse, and we'll get you back on again. You know, this thing is growing, so we appreciate everyone watching, guys. Again, please give us a like, share. We want to get more people on. Jesse hopefully will join us again here soon, because this is really good. And if you are not using the batch products, go to batchleads.io/closers. 5,000 free records. Why not take it? I'm telling you now, 5,000. Just go and do it. If you don't like it, cancel it. You've got 7 days. All right. But just go and get it. Test it out, because I'm telling you, the money, the monthly on it and the money you're going to save is just going to be game changing. We've been over it. I'm not going over it again, but make sure you do it. All right. Go and do it right now. get some leads, get off market, stop going on Zillow, calling for sale by owners, trying to buy at a discount. You are wasting your time. All right.
That's
You're
right.
wasting time in this market. Off market deals is where it's at. So go there right now. Jesse, Don, David, I appreciate you all.
Yeah.
And we'll talk soon. Thanks.